Hello my dear friends, and welcome to my channel. My name is Barbara, and today we're going to be looking at Mars conjunct the Ascendant in Synastry. So this video is for you if you have this particular placement or conjunction taking place within the Synastry charts, or if you're a cross watcher, welcome as well. So Mars in our natal charts deals with our passion. It can be the aggression, it can be the desire, it can be our sexuality, it can also be how we handle conflict. Sometimes I look at Mars as the ego as well, that solar plexus chakra, so it can be a core part of your identity and who you are. The sign in here is always going to tell you a little bit more about your core identity, that solar plexus chakra. The ascendant is the path in life. It's where we are heading in this lifetime. You can also look at it as the appearance as well, how we present ourselves to the world, how the world perceives us. Sometimes I can also see the ascendant being part of the solar plexus chakra as well, in a way, part of that identity aspect of yourselves. So when we have these two energies coming together, it's really interesting to see how it can play out, because it can play out in different types of relationships. A lot of the time, this particular conjunction and contact between the two people is going to lead to a huge sexual attraction. The Mars person is going to be super sexually attracted to the ascendant person. Perhaps their appearance is going to be their ideal, or there's going to be some sort of vibe that the ascendant person is giving off that the Mars person is super attracted to. A lot of the time, it's going to be that initial reaction is really what that is, that instinct, almost that animalistic instinct within the Mars person. So the ascendant person, obviously depending on what's happening between the two individuals and their synastries, the ascendant person might kind of feel like the Mars person is coming on a little bit too strong. So within the Mars person, like, you guys can look at Mars as masculine energy. So within the Mars person, it's almost like this intense masculine energy gets activated within where they really want to pursue the ascendant person. Now the ascendant person, again, depending on the rest of the placements, how developed these two people are, how evolved they are, and maybe what else is going on in their natal charts and their synastry charts as well. But the ascendant person, maybe in the beginning of this relationship, might kind of feel like the Mars person is only viewing them sexually. There's going to be this huge sexual energy between the two people. Doesn't mean that the ascendant person doesn't feel the sexual energy, because they most likely will. There's going to be this attraction between the two people, absolutely. But it's the way that the Mars person goes about trying to get the ascendant person. It really puts them into this chaser masculine energy, is really what that is, that activates this energy within. Now this energy can come off maybe too aggressive, so it really depends to see how this energy is going to play out. But in the beginning, maybe the ascendant person is going to be like, okay, that's a lot, I need you to go over there, because the Mars person in a way can't even contain themselves. It's almost like this energy kind of takes them over, is really what that is. So that can obviously go into the shadow of this energy as well, where it's they can be overly aggressive maybe in their pursuit. They can maybe invade boundaries as well, where it's the ascendant person's kind of no. So in this dynamic, the ascendant person might have to really see how they can develop strong boundaries with the Mars person, obviously depending on what you want this relationship to be, where you want it to go, or do you even want to be engaging with this particular person. Because if the two people are interacting in real life, the sexual energy is going to build between the two people, is really what that is. Now, with that being said, not all of these relationships are going to be sexual relationships. Sometimes the sexual energy can manifest in a little bit of a different way. Let's say this is a platonic relationship or even a business relationship. Sometimes I see Mars as potential business relationships as well. But let's say it's a platonic relationship. Well, in that case, it could kind of be like a battling of two egos. If we look at both of these energies as the solar plexus chakra, as the ego of each person, maybe there could be a lot of friction. It could be maybe one of those dynamics where the two people don't really like each other in the beginning, for example, because it's maybe there's a lot of similarities between them. It's kind of like the magnet. When it's too similar and you're putting it together, they're kind of repelling. So it could be this. And let's say it is a relationship or maybe a sexual partnership, for example. If the Mars person in any way, shape, or form feels frustrated, this dynamic could turn into an aggressive type of dynamic as well. Because a lot of the time I find that sexual energy, when it goes inward and it doesn't have an outlet, it doesn't have to be toward a person. The Mars person would have to learn how to deal with their sexual energy, for example. So if they don't know how to do this, maybe they're more unevolved, the energy goes inward and then it turns aggressive. So there could be a lot of conflict in this dynamic as well, especially if it's unaware or unevolved. Let's say it is a platonic dynamic. Maybe there's a lot of conflict between the two people. Let's say it's a business dynamic. It could be a business dynamic where it's kind of the two people are rivals, or it's kind of keep your friends close but your enemies closer. But if the two people kind of overcome their egos and maybe the intensity and maybe the conflict, I do feel these two energies, let's say it's a platonic relationship or a business partnership, I do feel feel like these energies could really prosper because it's like they do share a lot of similarities in common. So it's really, really interesting because I've noticed a lot of the time, like let's say you do just have like a friendship with someone or it's platonic, you'll see a lot of the time that if you didn't like someone in the beginning, that you guys actually have more things in common. Like let's say there was like this immediate like repulsion. Now this isn't to say to override your intuition. That's a completely different story if you have a bad gut feeling about someone, but it's like, you know, when you meet people sometimes and it's like, it's too similar. Like I mentioned, it's like that magnet. You guys are kind of repelling each other. But then if you guys realize that you're very, very similar, you guys can kind of work toward the same end goal together, whatever that may be. So it depends what kind of relationship this is going to be. It can go in a lot of different directions. It could be super passionate, it could be very sexual, or it could be very prosperous, let's say business relationship, if you guys are heading in that direction, if it's something that's a little bit more platonic. So with all that being said, I'm going to wrap up this video here on Mars conjunct the Ascendant in Synastry. I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please do like, share, and subscribe, and I hope you all have a beautiful rest of the day.